with Sentinel Glass here. Thanks for joining me. Just want to take a minute of your time, if you would, please. I've got a 2008 Nissan Pathfinder here that the windshield has obviously been changed, not only by knowing what the manufacturers actually come from the factory in these, but also by looking at it. When this pulled up, I noticed immediately that the windshield had been changed and that the windshield itself is not properly positioned. It is a 1/4 inch low from where it should be. This molding right here, I don't know how well you can see it, but this molding right here doesn't even touch the body. It should look closer up to here like it does here, but it's got a gap here. And I'm betting that if I pull from experience, over 90% of the windshields that I put in, whether I be in Indiana or Florida or wherever I've worked, when a windshield's been changed, I can almost guarantee that underneath here the technician has scratched the paint, and there's going to be either a bare metal scratch that's starting the rust, or there's rust present. Being here in Arkansas, we really don't have to worry about the rust so much because we don't have the road salt. But if you travel anywhere that uses road salt in the winter, it's something you definitely want to be aware of, because when metal is scratched instantly, depending on the weather conditions, it begins to rust and begins to corrode immediately. I'm going to go ahead and start taking this molding off, and if I'm right, this molding should practically pull off pretty easily, actually. Let me see what we got going on here. Yeah, we got a molding. Folks, this molding should not pull off this easy. It just shouldn't. A lot of the glue, this windshield may have not leaked, but yeah, it looks like the technician, I don't know how long ago it was changed. I don't know how well you can see here, but there's bare metal scratches here that have not been primed or put a sealer over to keep it from rusting. So rust is starting all along that line, all across the top. And we're going to change this windshield out, but before I put this back in, I will make sure that this is fixed. I will clean the rust, get it good and clean, and put a primer sealer over it so that it will stop the rust. This particular one is not too far gone, and the rust should stop. Once again, I thank you for your time here at Sentinel Glass. And these are some important issues that when you go have a windshield changed at any company, it's not the company, quote unquote, that's doing the work. It's the technician. Does he care? Is he going to do you a good enough job? But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it. All you're going to be able to see is just the glass and how it's sitting in here. If it doesn't leak air, doesn't leak water, then you're probably going to think everything's good. But I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. Now this is going to take some time before it starts rusting more, and it could take anywhere between 2 to 10 years to rust through, depending on the location of the vehicle. But if something like this happened up in Indiana, where I'm from originally, within 2 years your windshield would be leaking because of road salt, and the corrosion would be accelerated from the road salt. But at any rate, we're going to get this taken care of and get it put in properly and get it setting at the proper height. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see you again soon. Okay, here's our Nissan Pathfinder that we've been working on. Now, I've taken photos of after I've gotten the glass out, and there was a little bit of rust all the way around the windshield. That's due to the previous installation and scratching the paint and not putting primer back over the scratch. Now, in this industry, scratches do happen, and we do our best to prevent them by the different types of tools we use. But the most important thing is that if you do have a scratch, that you put that sealer over there. That I have photos in some of these pictures and in this video. But as you can see now, as before when Craig was filming and I was teaching you guys a lot of things here, the molding itself was away from the body, and it was a 1/4 inch away from the body. The windshield was actually sitting a 1/4 inch too low, and now we've got that molding installed, the exact same molding. This particular client wanted me to reuse his molding if possible, and we do our best to try and reuse the client's moldings if they request it. But the biggest thing was when I pulled the cowling off of this vehicle, the windshield was sitting so low that it was actually resting on this metal here, and which would cause rattling, it might cause squeaking, and maybe, possibly even the worst, stress cracking. But now that we have the windshield installed at proper height and factory height, we've got a couple pieces of tape in there to hold it in place for a couple of hours, and then we can take that tape off. But as you can see, I've applied that primer and sealer all the way around that glass. There were scratches in the paint. But we got those all taken care of. We wire brushed them up, cleaned the rust, cleaned that off, and then applied our sealer and let it dry. Thank you for using Sentinel Glass, and we appreciate your time. Hope to see you soon. Bye.